Origin Jazz Home Reaction. This is the funniest animal on earth. I'm sorry. Let's not catch geographic. Yeah, so why is it funniest? Obviously from the thumbnail and from here, it's an ape. How many species of ape out there? They're like, we can always like, oh, look at that. I didn't know that one existed. I get surprised sometimes when I think two species are the same one. Then I realize, wait a minute, these are different one, right? These are not the same ape. So I don't know. This is my channel, Casual Geography, obviously. Bit of a hiatus by big plans for this channel. The big 20. He was in hiatus. Did he just made the video in the end of the December? I'm pretty sure he made it. But I guess for him it's a hiatus. I don't know. Yeah, so this is gonna be an interesting video. Let's watch it.
Show me someone who's never seen this with their eyes, and I'll show you a child that got left behind. The school system's failing, and this is proof. Did you know the average kid in America doesn't know about this harmonizing homunculus? Arguably one of the greatest gifts nature ever gave, yet they remain disrespected and unaccepted. Well, not today, you know. Someone has to stand up for this comic relief, rough draft, auditory onslaught of a primate, and you already know I will. I mean, that's a given. You're probably familiar with the great apes, but in case you're not, they include gorillas, chimps, bonobos, i.e. chimps with a different R rating, and this guy.
Oh my god.
Together, along with humans, they make up the Great Ape group. Great Ape. The name only an ape could come up with. But along the way, someone got snubbed, and this is actually live footage of it happening.
You are freaking
Great Apes.
plus Mark. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm rocking with Mark because Mark is rocking with us.
Yeah, Gibbons got gatekept from the great ape lunch table. Science says it's because of their relatively smaller size, lower intelligence, ouch. And real talk, I think they're just too goofy for the other apes to want to be associated. But being tailless means Gibbons aren't monkeys either, and instead got classified as lesser apes. That's already flagrantly flippant, but there's about 20 species of lesser apes. They're all gibbons. Apparently this drunk toddler of an ape was such an affront to the family, folks created an entirely new category to put them in and slapped them with the lesser label. Well, I'm gonna argue this tiger taunting, vocal cord flaunting, terminally trolling, usually barrel rolling primate might just be the prime ape. Now, to be fair, gibbons are that one weird kid in class. They're like the missing link between apes and monkeys.
Yeah, the great ape, and lesser apes. These categories are like, why just apes though? Because there's many other species out there which come from certain same family tree. Either they're given different names or just like similar name that just like the other one, but they're never like greater, lesser. I guess because apes are closer to us and that's how we categorize them. I don't know. Yeah, somebody really comment down like, why is that? Because I'm pretty sure there's no other species I guess categorized like that, right? Greater this, greater that.
But if evolution went on a side quest, gibbons break a lot of the rules of being an ape. They have low sexual dimorphism, meaning the males and females are about the same size. They don't build nests to sleep. They put in about as much effort as pigeons. They're monogamous, allegedly. We'll get to that. And they basically spend their entire lives in the trees. Could have sworn they let the orang slide for that, but that's none of my business. They're also anatomical anomalies with a wingspan worthy of an infringement lawsuit from Go-Go Gadget. We call them lesser, but let's be glad they're still alive. Cause uncovering a fossil that could jump rope its own skeleton, that Jumanji junk would have put us in another pandemic. You don't realize how long a gibbon's arms are until, well, one, you get slapped by one, but also until you put them next to a person for scale. But having joints longer than a
Yeah, it would be great at a UFC fight, right? What is the reach of it? Let's not talk about it. That's how big it is.
prohibition for Peter Griffin is great for one thing, and it's kind of the thing gibbons are known for. Like I said, gibbons are completely arboreal, and there's actually a name for how they get from A to B. Brachiate. Calling it monkey bars is an insult. If you did this as a kid, you were on gibbon timing. These branch-loving acrobats are the fastest things in the trees without wings. At 35 miles per hour, the tree goblin can brachiate fast enough to get pulled over in a school zone. And they'll yeet themselves up to 30 feet between trees. Forget a leap of faith, that's a leap.
You just said they jump from tree to tree at 35 miles per hour? What? I'm trying to visualize that. That shit is insanity. There's nothing lesser about that shit, because that's frightening.
Of fortune. Specialized shoulders and wrists allow them to treat the jungle as their personal gym. It also helps that they're built like a CrossFit cryptid with the longest arms of any ape. If the average 5'4" woman adopted its build, she'd flex a 10'7" wingspan. And if you lived like one, you'd be parkouring off the cables of the Brooklyn Bridge. But they're not free from fall damage, and it's estimated most gibbons break a bone at some point in their lives. Gets even crazier when you realize mothers will pull these stunts with a whole baby in tow.
Yeah, this is like saying a motorcyclist, gets injured once in their... Yeah, definitely they do, right? So yeah, it's in the thing they're doing, right? The thing that makes them survive, right? Jumping from branches to branches at 35 miles per hour is the reason why they're not dead or like eaten by a tiger or some shit, whatever, like in their server, whatever the predator is, right? That's one of the main reasons. Of course, they're gonna break a bone or here and there. I'm pretty sure other animals have much worse things.
And speaking of babies, you know how we always say animals use play as preparation for the life they'll live? Baby gibbons will not only learn to brachiate by chasing each other through the trees, they'll also intentionally let go of branches to catch themselves. But what even makes gibbons play a lifelong game of floor is lava? Well, like orangutans, they realize it's way safer to have your ops be gravity and time than touch tiger country downstairs and get murked by a feline. Because gibbons would rather run away than run a Huh? Gibbons are actually extremely territorial, and that along
I was a mute. So yeah, that's just so effed up, man. That's not that far away, right? That distance is not that far away. A tiger can jump, stand still, that distance. But then again, a gibbons can, like, if they can like jump from tree to tree like 35 miles per hour, they can just thing short up, right? I'm pretty sure they have like reaction time that faster. But damn, trolling a tiger, right? I was just saying like, okay, tiger or something, whatever in their server. Apparently it is tiger. That's just effed up.
with them having a 99 agility stat, is how you get the only animal alive that can vibe check a tiger and live to do it twice. Technically, it's mobbing behavior meant to drive away a predator using the power of parkour, but the execution makes them move like Spider-Man minus morale. They're morale-less, but the only miles is how far they can drive a stripe delete button crazy. Show me a great
one tiger's do, other just like doing that. Like, what the fuck is happening, man? I love that reaction, right? The gibbon is like punching like other tigers, talking to other tiger, grabbing like, what the fuck is happening?
ape that can taunt a tiger. Many have tried. Most have died. A whole apex predator and twig ninja just ear pulled them like a delinquent. And they don't play favorites. Gibbons have also been recorded harassing clouded leopards getting too close, although I'm pretty sure that one was trying to sleep and got hit with a long arm of audacity. Cause if you think they only use their powers for protection, gibbons are the most unapologetic trolls in the animal kingdom. We told them they're the great ape's little brother, and now they done made it their personality. No other way to explain this. Porcupines are better protected against lions than versus a tree-happy instigator. Even a so-called great ape can end up looking pretty stupid around a lesser. Gibbons are an impulsive thought come to life. They don't think it, they just
Yeah, he's the Jeremy Clarkson of apes, apparently. Low IQ trolling, right? No, Clarkson's supposed to be orangutan. That's what the other two named him. But yeah. just messing about, just like annoying people. I love this shit. Annoying tiger and all that. I love he just like slingshot back and pull the leg again.
do it. Fun fact, this is the Memphis Zoo, that's Ringo, and they even warn you to stay off the glass because he'll literally injure himself trying to jump scare you. You know nature made you cracked when you're the only mammal alive that can go band for band with a cat. With zero regard for feline rights, you've never seen a cat this outmatched, and they'll easily play Matador with your dog. I love it because there's no scientific reason for them to be like this other than gibbons are all about the dickery, except with mice. You know, put a mouse in front of them and things suddenly stop being funny. But with arms like that, they'll always keep it humorous. But there is one animal that forms the most unlikely friendship with them. Or maybe not, because on paper,
I guess the smallness of it, right? Because of that arm, maybe they can't grab them like good enough. So they're like, okay, we can't control this, so let's stay away from it type of shit. I don't know, it must be that.
gibbons and orangutans actually have a lot in common. They live in the same area code, they're both for the trees, and orangutan actually translates to man of the forest. At the same time, some, like the Hulak gibbon, have been affectionately nicknamed the little man of the forest. But their personalities are so opposite, they honestly belong in a buddy comedy. Gibbons are hyper athletic, flyweight, and the fastest moving animals in the trees. Orangs are the largest, the mascots of stoicism, and yo, I swear they could talk, they just don't want to deal with taxes. Polar opposites, yet time and time again, wild gibbons and orangutans have been caught playing with each other. I like to think the fact that they don't compete for the same foods means they don't really have a reason to have beef, and a lot of zoos will actually assign them together as roommates. Another reason orangutans are chill like.
Okay, I'm not surprised that, look, I won't be surprised that apes in general have like a lot of human-like qualities, because the more I learn about other animals like dogs, cats, every other type of animal, like how they have what type of like a human-like traits, how they think, right? How playful they are. Even the bees, what is it, hornets, they play around, right? Play with balls and things, cotton balls and whatever. I won't be surprised that apes are very similar to us in like a lot of emotions and things, playfulness and all that.
That if gibbons suddenly get accepted into the Great Ape Club, I think you know who pulled the strings for them. And you think orangs would find a sentient sugar rush annoying, and that gibbons might find Bigfoot's understudy intimidating. But not only do they play with each other, they even trust each other with their own children. Orangs have quite the obsession with baby gibbons, and gibbons really be rocking with an infant Cheeto ape. There's even one gibbon in the Brookfield Zoo that'll leave his enclosure just to visit the orangutans next door. But there's at least one other ape gibbons bond with. In some places, wild gibbons will actually become habituated with humans to the point where they'll regularly drop by and groom their favorites. Galia was a hula gibbon who was famous because every day, she'd come down from the trees, hobble over to the locals, and provide a free hour-long salon service, starting with Bupeshwar Ningda, the man who protected her as an orphan. It hits different when you realize grooming is how gibbons reinforce social bonds in a family. Now it is bittersweet since it likely took her entire actual family getting put on a shirt for her to get to that point, and we'll get back to that. But
Yeah, if that's Indian name Kalia, or Kalia, that literally means black one. Was it black? What was that one? I don't know.
say that's pretty damn great. For a lesser ape, even dogs aren't immune to a gibbon act of goodwill. And now that you're familiar with them, I think we can go ahead and meet all the types of gibbons, or as many as my attention span will allow. This is a Siamang. They're the heavyweights of the gibbons at a whopping 30 pounds. They're the ones with that throat scrub, or as I like to call it, the chesticle. It's a pouch that works like an amplifier to broadcast their call, and clearly nature had an off day when it spawned a frog monkey that looks like one of Ben's.
All of those Madagascar style movies, right? I don't know, like whatever, I don't know whatever universe that is, right? But they just have this kind of like a human-like civilization where literal their traits are the one that they, like use it as a thing, right? So they're going to use this as a literal broadcast thing, right? Rather than using a speaker because animals don't have speakers. Where's Madagascar? Like penguins do that, and Madagascar is the one movie, right? Where they just use literal natural traits as a trait. How humans use tools. They're gonna use this as a loudspeaker, literally.
And as much as I like them, this would be terrifying to have fly over your head. It's a reminder that even the comic relief of the apes could scramble your face if they really wanted to. But I think nature knew it animated Slenderman's shadow a little too well, because it went ahead and gave them the most unserious vocal stim you've ever heard. This is a northern white-cheeked gibbon, which definitely, for sure, is not venom, no matter how hard you try to perceive otherwise. And in case you're curious, the babies are all born white. After about a year or two, they turn black. The males stay that way, but the females eventually revert back to their cream colorway, proving the once widely accepted scientific theory wrong. You can go back. This is a Skywalker gibbon, and yes, they were discovered in 2017 by a group of scientists who apparently love Star Wars that much. The namesake of Luke was found in Myanmar, Southeast Asia, and it's believed there's less than 200.
Oh my god, imagine that years after this. Decades, centuries, where people didn't forget Star Wars. People are like, what is that? It's called Skywalker. Okay, what is that? And they figure out, oh, wait a minute, there used to be an entire lore and like whole series, right? Star Wars, oh, okay. I don't think Star Wars is gonna die like that, right? Unless Hollywood really tries to kill it, like they're doing it recently. And even then, I'm pretty sure like somebody will revive it. Someone genius come along who's a Star Wars fan.
Of them, but they're not as bad as the Hainan gibbon, which isn't just the rarest ape, but one of the mammals closest to getting discontinued, with less than 40 of them. Crazy thing is, it used to be worse. They went from a couple thousand in the 1950s to where you could count on both hands how many were left by the 70s. Again, we got the Hulak gibbon. I like their face. The silvery gibbon. I like their hair. Good thing they max out at 2 feet. Any taller, we'd be having Yeti conversations. And lastly, the pileated gibbon, because in my opinion, they have the coolest call. Now at this point you might be wondering.
Yeah, I think might be something like that because in ice it's really hard to see the scale of thing. If everything's icy, it's really hard to see anything. People either misunderstood the scale of something like that, or just like something was abnormally big, like it can't happen. Something like that, I don't know.
Why do gibbons call at all? Well, that's the second thing they're known for. The reason for it, well, you have a lock on your door, some have a gate, but gibbons, nah, they mark territory off straight. It's actually the same reason male lions roar, to tell outsiders that they best keep it that way. Except gibbons will often do it as a duet, and sometimes they'll get the kids involved and make it a family matter. And they'll usually do it in the crotch of dawn, and if you live next to a zoo with gibbons, you've definitely heard it. And remember, they're territorial, so if you hoot back at them, you might just end up going band for band with a broadcasting tree siren. Hey, yeah, post-production cashier, don't do that. Not only will you offend them, it's like showing teeth to a gorilla, but gibbons are capable of doing something about it. In 2011, a gibbon escaped a
Yeah, it's a general rule that are like any of your human things you do, don't do around animals. Smile, I don't know, it could be something. Yeah, if you show teeth, that you're basically showing teeth to an ape or something. Yeah, that's threatening shit, right? Anything, right? You can't expect an animal to know what your human signs and human interaction is. All the things we do, all the expressions, you can't expect an animal to learn that unless it's like a dog and cat that you domesticate or something. But like, yeah, animals can. So if you go on a safari or something, go to a zoo, remember that's a fucking animal. Like, just be normal, right? Don't try to act like a human and expect that to act like a human. It's not a fucking human, right? This is one of the most weirdest shit I always like. I was seeing people smile, right? In real, like, smile at an animal, that ape, right? They're smiling back. I'm like, I know what that is. I just keep the fuck away, right? And it's such an opposite. Smiling is like so non-threatening. To ape, that's a fucking threat.
Malaysian zoo after being taunted and severely mauled a child, and while I will spare you all the details, I will say his mom had to carry pieces of his thigh in a plastic bag. The odds are low, but they're not zero. So yeah, best keep the singing to the gibbons. It's a big deal for them. They spent actual years of their lives perfecting it. It's very much giving albatross marriage dance.
What the fuck does that mean? Don't zoo contain animals? I haven't been to many zoos, but like that's what I assume, right? A zoo is where like animals are contained and you can just see them. What is it called, the other thing? Conservation? That's probably open thing, right? But zoos are like closed off. Like you can't interact with animals directly. So how the fuck that happen?
Some species, Mama Gibbon will help her daughters practice with their version of singing lessons, where the daughter tries to match her mother's pitch. For male gibbons, they learn by imitating the male figures around them. After years in the lab, they're able to come together and make the sound you've heard in every movie's jungle scene ever. There's something about the fact that males and females spend years perfecting their songs, and when they do come together, the songs just fit each other perfectly. These duets become a verbal vow renewal as the songs help reinforce their pair bond. And that's the third thing gibbons are known for. They're the only apes that are monogamous. Can you imagine a gibbon seeing another gibbon and just making it work? No other ape, not gorillas, chimps, definitely not bonobos. And you know most humans ain't about that. Entanglements be damned. Except, yeah, about that. So the whole monogamy thing came from researchers watching a group and witnessing a couple only getting active with each other. Except what they didn't realize was by being around these gibbons constantly, the gibbons eventually got used to the people and would get way closer than they usually would. The problem is the other gibbons that weren't as chill with humans would see this and treat the human habituated gibbons like the plague and avoid them at all costs. Honestly, good for them. But if gibbons do mess around on their partners, the researchers basically block them from doing it. Also, any cheater can look loyal for the—
Oh my god. Oh my god. Did this just become quantum problem? That's the problem in quantum mechanics, quantum physics, whatever, right? The observation itself messes the test. How the fuck you supposed to all the double slit issues? This is like real life equivalent of that, right? Just the act of measuring them made sure the result is tainted. This is so good.
Weeks or months the researchers spent watching them. So Ryan Palombit decided to study a gibbon family for 6 years, and this time, instead of habituating themselves to just one pair, pretty much all the groups in the area were habituated, meaning they could truly study gibbon free will. And when I tell you it was Real Housewives of Indonesia out there, I'm gonna tell you a story, but it will get messy, so I'm gonna need you to lock in or you will get lost. So it starts with two gibbon families. Each one had a subadult, basically a teenager, and one had a teenage male and the other a teenage girl. And we're still talking about gibbons. Both teenagers left their respective families, got together, and found a new territory to live in. And that's when stuff got weird. Cause the teenage guy gibbon also had two younger juvenile brothers, and for reasons beyond me, they moved in with Big Bro and his girl. To Palombit, that was already cause to pause, but it got wicked once the adult male from the female gibbon's original group, i.e. her father, disappeared. Cause apparently a parent in past tense is a canon event. Well, with a sudden power vacuum, guess who filled in? Yeah, the same subadult male along with his baby brothers all moved into the female's group, and the teenager took his girl's dad's place. He then just moved back and forth between the two spots, meaning Mans was monkey branching from his original girl to her mother. And in what's a lot more common than you might think, the mother and daughter had serious beef, and when things finally got too hot and the male had to pick a side, he chose the mother and fully moved in. The mom would have the baby that was likely fathered by her daughter's ex. As for the subadult daughter, that was the last time Palombit saw her. If there's a moral in this story, one way or another, Gibbon's gonna find a way to swing. There was also that time one in the Kujukushima Zoo in Nagasaki had people questioning everything after 12-year-old Momo got pregnant while being housed with exactly 0.
I don't know what it says that our the ape interaction that happened there, like how the relationships happens, how they're like, how can they do all that, right? Even in the human extreme, shit like that can happen. How similar is our emotions, how we handle relationship, right? Our morality stops us a lot, but like basic level, like our relationship, how we approach things, very similar to how ape does, right? This makes me think, I don't know who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who said that like we basically pride ourselves like how great we are. Look at that, look at all the inventions, look at the Hubble telescope, look at International Space Station, look at everything, look at the smartphone. What if that progression isn't that big? If we find a advanced alien, we might realize that jump is not that big. All this technology is like slightly better. Our DNA basically, again, DNA is not 100%, but DNA shows that like very small difference compared to what is it, like chimpanzee, our closest ancestor, close to nothing level of like difference of DNA, and that did all this. Then again, you can like approach that like maybe DNA isn't 100% that way, or like it doesn't show it like that, whatever. But what if all this progression is not that big compared to like basic chimpanzee? Because a lot of things kind of feel similar when you look at the animals.
Oh men, they thought it was an immaculate conception. Folks thought she spawned Gibbon Jesus, until they did a DNA test and found the father was 34-year-old Ito, who thankfully was also a Gibbon. They still had no idea how they did the do, until they found a 9mm hole in a steel plate between enclosures. That's 9mm. He really wanted that glory. The whole time we called them lesser when really we're not that much better than Gibbons. I don't care what the literature says, they're great to me. Especially since we've probably done Gibbons dirtier than any other ape. Remember Kalia? Well, not only did she lose her family, but after a kid taunted her with a slingshot and she finally bit back, the boy's father came after her with a shovel and she lost her life. This kind of thing actually happens a lot to Gibbons. Not only do they get their homes knocked down and trees removed, a lot of times they get reduced to pets. It's
Revenge against an animal? Look, I would be frightened if something happens to one of the person I love, right? Family or whatever, done by an animal. I would never go close to an animal again and all that. Having a revenge against an animal, how does that even work? Like, that's an animal. This is like stupid. Come on. It's like thinking like the animal did that maliciously, like how a human would do, like evil. That doesn't work, right? It's an animal. Taking a shovel against an animal, like what? What if that monkey would have attacked your kid again? It was like, keep your kid away. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know what else to say. Or if it like lives close to your home, like move it or something. I don't know. Like killing the animal, like revenge against an animal. Like, I don't know, man.
to the point where virtually every Gibbon is flirting with extinction. In fact, some like the Heinen might as well be in bed with it. I don't like ending the video like this, but I feel like Gibbons being so overlooked makes it that much easier for the atrocities against them to get buried. And if we don't lock in and spread the word, Nature's one-man comedy special will be cancelled.
Yeah, geographic video ending in happy note. Nobody expects that, so this is fine.
A lifetime. But then again, does it not make sense for the comic relief to have the most tragic backstory? At the end of the day, Gibbons proved that you might not be a great ape, but you're still a great ape. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, support your local Gibbon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, comedy coming from tragedy makes sense, but yeah. It's like awesome, you know, like ape. Like of all the apes, this like makes them. This might be favorite of mine because how they troll, right? How they play around, right? With orangutans and everything. This is fucking awesome. I did not see this coming. I just thought like, oh, okay, funniest animal, like because how it looks. I don't know, but no, everything. I mean, I should have expected this. Like, Castle is not just gonna make a video based on that. So with everything they do, is just fucking awesome, right? And yeah, that. how like animals get treated. Like it's getting better slowly around the world everywhere, right? But yeah, there was a time when nobody gave a shit about animals. Like people did, but there wasn't a movement to actually do something about it where animals are not treated well. But that's changing slowly, so that's good. But yeah, alright, well, that was the funniest animal on earth. I'm sorry, but geographic. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.